Grown Man Sessions. Welcome back. I'm your host, Timothy Rhyme. On today's episode, we're going to be talking with Nate Sengmany. He's an entrepreneur. He was born in a refugee camp, and man, he has turned nothing into something. Hardworking guy, very motivational to a lot of people. And today we're going to be talking about how we define happiness. Everybody has their own definition, but I think that we discussed some pretty good gems that I think you guys should tune into. So before we get going, please hit the like and the subscribe. If we bring any value, if you believe in what we're doing, please consider becoming a Patreon for as little as a few bucks a month. It'll help us out. It'll go a long way so that we can just keep growing and changing the world one interview at a time. So without further ado, let's get this thing going. And man, let's just get into this thing today. My guest today, Nate Sengmany. I've known old boy for a while now. We're both from Sacramento, California, but I didn't know his background, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about his story because having read his bio and understanding like his background, you know, kind of just sheds new light on my boy. So, like Nate, man, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, man. You know, I know it's a cliche saying, but ain't no complaints here. But that's genuine, man. Ain't no complaints here, man. Just blessed, man.
Right on. That's good to hear, man. Well, thank you for making some time to be with me today, man. I really appreciate it.
Most def, man. I appreciate you asking me to come on. It means a lot, and I know you always making moves, and so anytime you include me in those moves, I feel appreciated, man. So thank you.
Right on, bro. That's love. For people that are listening, you guys got to check out his Instagram page because I guarantee you're going to get inspired just by seeing how many different places Nate's been and the different views that he's got to witness. I mean, if you're into National Geographic and stuff like that, you're going to dig it because he's got some pretty cool pictures up there. So I'll put it in the description. I'll put Nate's Instagram in the description down below. But yeah, man. So in your bio, you mentioned you talk about how you were instilled with high ambition and motivation to hustle and become successful. How do you kind of define success now that you're a little bit older, and like you said, more wiser to things?
Just to give a little story of how we're taught what success is, right? We're taught what success is. A lot of times it's financial, right? It's like,
right.
A lot of materialistic things. And so, again, being an immigrant, and trying to find that balance of American society, and what the Southeast Asian culture is like, as I've gotten older, success has really come down to happiness, and happiness, it's subjective, right? Everyone has a different definition of happiness. And so I just put a lot of my energy in trying to define what happiness is for me. And once I defined it clearly for myself, that's what I put all my energy into. It's like, what do I need to do? What do I need to get better at so that I can achieve that happiness? And so, the segue right into that, happiness to me is genuinely being able to help others live a happier life in whatever their definition of happy is. If their definition is like, Nate, I want to make more money, then I can utilize my resources to do whatever I can to help them put them in that position. And in the same breath, try to get them to see that it's not all about money, but if that's genuinely what makes you happy, I'll do my best to help you get that. Now, if their happiness is like, I just want to be stress free, or I want to be well liked, or whatever the case may be, then I want to use my resources to help them accomplish that, while again still trying to get them to be well rounded, to understand there's other ways of doing that. So that is what makes me happy. And so I put all my time and energy into being the best person I can be, to offer the best resources I can offer, and to get on as many platforms as I can, so that I can provide that for people. Because when people come back and say, and hey, you really helped me, look things in a different way, and I'm less stressed, I am more grateful, more open-minded now. That's fulfilling for me, and so I put all my energy into being that type of person that can do that for people, and so.
What do you think kind of got you to understand that about yourself, and what was the motivating factor to pursue it, like in a more consistent way?
Man, that it's deep. There's layers. But being the oldest of six, you're always constantly put in a position of responsibility, trying to. You got to make your parents happy. You got to make your younger siblings happy. You got to make teachers happy. And then I was in a lot of activities, so it was always like how to make my coaches happy. So I was always in a position to make other people happy. And then and at a young age, when you see your parents are like, "Oh man, I'm so proud of you," like, we would have got lost. We would have got lost if Nate didn't know how to read English, and or when my coaches are like, "Man, Nate, you're the hardest worker on the team," and things like that. That felt good, and so I think it started from that, and then it's just kind of progressed into the point where it's like that just felt good and make other people happy because I was always in that position, and so now I'm just like, what more can I learn? What more can I give so that I can help people on their journey, because I guess with that I'm okay with not having much, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like that, just. And so but it's weird how that works, because like when you have that mentality and that's what you're working, like the universe provides. The universe like, oh, this guy is giving, he's giving, so the universe provides, like, okay, let's continue to give him tools and resources to help him do this. And so
Yeah.
from the outside, from the outside looking in, people think like I'm balling, like I'm rich, like I got all this money, but not really.
Hey, but I really do appreciate and respect the fact that you have that definition of success, man, because I personally, and I know there are people that disagree and have different definitions. I think when you put a price tag on those things, man, I feel like it kind of dilutes it, you know, because at the end of the day, man, like, I'm somebody that almost died. So when I had my near death experience, man, like I realized that like I can't take none of this with me. You know what I mean? Like the only thing that I can do is just try to make a difference while I'm still here. And hopefully that'll be enough, and that'll be something that I could be proud of, and the people that love me will be proud of me for doing, because that's, to me, was the most important thing. Like when I realized, like, damn, I could have been dead, and like this is what people would have remembered about me, and this is what like my impact on the world would have been. Like I didn't want that to be the last chapter. You know what I mean?
And I think that's great awareness on your part, because more times than not, so many people have near-death experiences and they lose people, they lose loved ones, and like after the funeral, they're like, "Oh man, this just opened my eyes. I gotta be more grateful." But then 3 years down the line, they don't have that same energy. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
for you to only need one near-death experience, and then and then and then be aware of that, and then take the proper steps to live a genuine, authentic, a grateful life, and put the work and ethic. I mean, put the work and into doing that. It says a lot, man. It says a lot, and I think that's why we vibe. I think that's why we've always connected, from afar. And so, man, much props to you for that, man. Because some people say it, but they don't put it into action, man. And so, kudos to you, man.
Appreciate you, man. I thank you. I had when I almost died. I've shared this with other people in the past, but I'll share it with you too. That when I almost died, I heard a voice tell me, "Be good to yourself and be good to others, because that's why you're here." And I'll never forget it. And I wasn't high. I mean, I wasn't like hallucinating, man. Like I could hear the paramedic talking to me. My world was black, like, but I could hear a paramedic talking to me, and it wasn't his voice. Like I heard this really like defined voice saying it. And so like I'll never forget it, man. And I feel like at the end of the day, like that's what I want to leave behind, is that message. Be good to yourself, be good to others, because that's why you're here. Bottom line.
Yeah. That being good to yourself is probably the only thing you can really control. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you're good to yourself, then you're definitely putting yourself in a position to be good to others. So if you can't love yourself, how possibly can you love someone else? You know what I mean? And so simple. It's very simple, but it can get complicated.
Well, let's kind of dig into that just a little bit, Nate. I'm curious because, like, amongst men, man, I mean, talking about self-love might turn some men away or might make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. What do you think that would look like for a man to kind of be good to himself and give himself that self-love?
Man, I mean, I, I think it's just, you know, it's just humans, right? Like just patience. Give yourself grace. You know,
Yes.
patience, grace, and um,
Being nice to yourself.
yeah. You know, I mean, okay. There's like it's such a fine line. Like, you know, independent. You got to provide. You got to be the one. You got to give. You got to be the man of the house, and you got to do all these things. And like, there's so much pressure. So much pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we're learning through mental health and all this stuff that you can't do that if you're not in the best state of mind. You just can't, like,
Mm-hmm.
um and so it's just like you just got to give yourself some grace, man. You just got to like forgive yourself and just really understand that you have to be in the best position, and only you know what's best for you, right? Only you know what kind of demons you have and what struggles you have, and there's so many resources out there for you to like combat those things. And so um give yourself time and understand like we spoke at the beginning, it's a journey. Like there's you
Mm-hmm.
can never
Yeah.
you can never master anything. And so like you're consistently practicing. One of the best analogies I like to use is like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all these top athletes, Tom Brady. Like they're top athletes, but every day they have to practice. Every day they have a coach telling them what they can do to get better and be more consistent, and they practice harder than anybody else on the field. And so um you know, so like give yourself some grace and forgiveness. Like, yo, I'm not perfect. I got to work on it. And then at the same time, celebrate your small wins, man. You got to celebrate those things. Like the simple things on a practice field when you see a player goes, oh man, good pass, good throw. Somebody on the outside, like, yo, it's just practice, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you got to celebrate those wins. You got to celebrate the good behaviors, because when somebody tells us something good about a good behavior, we're more than likely to repeat that behavior. You know what I mean?
Right.
As opposed to just the result. Yeah, you know, a lot of times we reward the result. And so I think for a man, for self-love is give yourself kudos for the little things, like you know, whatever it may be, something so simple like, man, I'm glad I made my bed this morning. Like, I'm glad I'm disciplined enough to wake up and make my bed this morning when I know no one's going to see my room, right? But that just tells me that I have discipline, and that I care. You know what I mean? Like, when I get home, I want to be able to look at it, but like, you know, I had the discipline, and now I have a really nice little bed. When I get into it, I feel a little bit better because I'm like, it's just little things. You know what I mean? Like, you got to celebrate
Yep.
those little wins, and like we overlook those things because we always want to celebrate the result.
Yeah, man, I agree. And I feel like, when you celebrate the little wins and you do reward yourself for those little things, it translates into more. You know what I mean? Like, then you're like, okay, I made my bed. Now I'm gonna clean this thing. Or, now, like, I made my bed and I did that and I feel good about that. Now I feel like I have a little bit more confidence to go do this next thing that I've been wanting to do. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I, I think a lot of the stuff that we know, or the cliche sayings, like we believe in them and we know they work. I just think it's the execution part. Like, I think as humans,
Yeah.
we're just, you know what I mean? It's just that bounce, that yin and that yang, right? Like, we know what's good for us, we know what's best, but we're consistently being dragged to not do it for whatever reason. And I think that's just what separates, you know, the bad from the good from the greats, and the greats from the legends.
For sure, man. Yeah, it's the consistency for me, and it's also the next challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always like, okay, like I get to a point, man, where I get kind of bored with okay, I did this thing that was hard at first, but now I've been doing it for a while, and now I want to do something else. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm consistently challenging myself, and I'm consistently trying to see what else I'm capable of doing, because like I just want to prove it to myself. Like I just want to say like, yeah, like I can do it, because when I was young, man, I didn't have a lot of confidence, and I felt like I couldn't do anything. And so as I got older, I was like, nope, I'm going to change that. I'm going to really prove it to myself that I can do these things. So like you said, man, it's like, just having that conversation with yourself, and really getting in tune with that dude.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. So a lot of times when we're younger, or even now at our age, like we're always trying to prove something to somebody else. We're always trying to prove a hater or a naysayer. Were you always in that mindset, like you want to prove to yourself, or was there a moment where you were like, okay, I'm not trying to prove these haters wrong anymore. I'm just trying to prove it to myself.
No, I would tell you like probably like, up until I'd say like maybe less than like 10 years ago, I was always trying to prove somebody else wrong. I was always trying to show somebody else like, oh, you don't think I could do it? Okay, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it really well. But then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Like, it doesn't really matter what they think. And I'm putting too much weight on what these other people think, man. Like, what do I think? And that's when I really started to like change like my whole relationship with myself, because I didn't feel like any of those other voices really mattered as much. And I'm telling anybody that's listening, I'm telling you, like once you start drowning out those voices, and yours matters more, there's a certain level of peace that comes with it. And it's kind of like priceless, in my opinion.
I agree 100%. It's priceless. I think the next question we have to ask ourselves is like, how do we help people unlock that mindset, right? Because I think being a parent, like telling sometimes just doesn't work. Saying, I went through it, listen to me, go through my experience. They have no idea what your experience felt like. You know what I mean? Like they're going through their own experience. So like as leaders, as parents, like it's our duty to get creative, to use our creative juices to find ways to get them to unlock that for themselves. Like just telling is not working, right? Just saying, hey, I've been through it. Like you should drown out those voices. It's like, okay, dad, whatever. So now it's like, okay, how can I get creative to get my daughter to see that it's best for her if she drowns out these voices and not just tell her? And so I think that's the next level. That's the next challenge I'm bringing to myself, is the how, right? Like how do we do it? Like there's all these cliches, all these motivational speakers. It's like, so let me go out and be the example, so I can show you how to do it. How do you block out these voices, and why is it impactful? And so but you're, just to kind of bring it back a little bit, you're absolutely right. Like when you're trying to prove other people wrong, it just stems from a negative place, right? Like someone said something negative to you, now you have energy off of something negative, and now you're being fueled off negativity, and then it's great, you accomplish it, but then when you accomplish it, then you're like, what, haha, I told you I could do it. Now you're putting out more negativity. You know what I mean? Now you're like putting someone down, saying, I proved, like I did it and you said I couldn't, as opposed to the opposite of what we're talking about right now. Like you're doing it for yourself, and when you're doing it for yourself and you celebrate those good behaviors, you're more apt to listen to the supporters. And so when people, you hear those voices louder and clearer. So when you do accomplish it, it's, instead of saying, I told you I could do it, and putting someone else down because they didn't believe in you, you're more like, hey, thanks mom, thanks dad, hey, thanks BFF, like thanks for believing in me, you never wavered. It's a much better celebration. It's a more fulfilling celebration. So I like to use that as I develop these creative ways to show my daughter and other people around me how to drown out those voices. Because just telling doesn't work very well. So
I agree, man. I think the how is the key, and I think you said it perfectly, man. Like you said the how to you was like showing her, like figuring it out yourself and then showing her, because a lot of times, man, the kids don't listen to what we're saying, they just see what we're doing. you know, they're going to mimic our routines. They're going to mimic our behaviors more than they're going to mimic what we say.
And to circle back to what you said, you just got to be consistent, right? You just got to be consistent with what you're showing, what you're talking about.
Yeah, I heard somewhere recently that consistency is a love language. And that was the first time I had heard it, and I was like, "Damn!" I was like, that kind of hit me because I was like, "Yeah, I think that's true." Because that's like something that I really want to give to my kids because I didn't have that growing up. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have a consistent parent. I didn't have a consistent dad. Like everything was pretty much, I had a lot of turbulence growing up. So I want to give my kids something different. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I totally agree. Um, I before we go, man, I just wanted to ask you something that I ask all my guests, just because I love the answers, and it's never the same response because it stems from your own personal experience. But what do you think is one of the most important things that you've learned so far in your journey?
Man, it's a great question, and I've been asked it a few times. It's be present. And
Nice.
I know it sounds so cliche, bro. It sounds so cliche, but be present. And I mean, when I mean be present, like listen attentively, right? Ask genuine questions.
I think that that's like great advice in general. I don't think it's cliche. I think it's actually a lot more challenging than people will admit. Because if anybody else is like me, I'm in my head a lot thinking about all these other things that either happened or are gonna happen or could happen. Because that's just kind of like the way that I'm wired. But I noticed that, whenever I take a step back and I'm like, you know what, like I don't need to worry about that stuff right now. I get this sense of peace. And like I noticed the difference in my kids. I know the difference in myself. Notice the difference in my wife. So yeah, man, I completely agree. I think that's a really big gem in life in general, man. So yeah, I hope the people listening will take that away as something that they can practice as well. Um, I do want to just give you a shout out, man. Like I said, like you're very inspiring with your social media posts and just like the story that you're telling along the way. So thank you for that. Like I said before we got on here, I live vicariously through you, bro. Like just the views and the landscapes and all the different things that you get to see, man. It's so cool. So congratulations on that. Please let the people know, man. Where can they contact you or find you?
Nate in the Clouds, one word, Nate in the Clouds. That's my Instagram. I run two other businesses that provide for others. There's Hike and Hit. It's a outdoor recreational hiking group that involves a little bit of fitness. We run events once a month. Hike and Hit. That's all one word. And then we also run a content creating company called Elevated Trail Squad, and that's all one word. And so services that are fulfilling, that help others get outdoors, recreational therapy, to help people be the best version of themselves. So yeah, man. Thanks again, man. Appreciate you having me on, man. This has been real dope, man. And I'm hoping that you can get out to one of our events and we can have one of these grown man sessions in person.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, I'll definitely keep in touch with you on that. Appreciate it, Nate. A lot of good gems, man. I'm sure people will get something from it. But what do you guys think? Leave me a comment on this video right here, or you can email me at grownmansessions@yahoo.com. Follow us on social media at Grown Man Sessions. I'd love to connect with you guys on there as well. And if you find any value in what we're doing, please consider supporting us on Patreon. And I always end this by saying that one person can change the world, but it's one person at a time, and that one person is you. So until next time, you guys, peace out. Grown Man Sessions. Peace out, Nate.
Peace.